thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to review the XINLIN X181 X181 Navigator X6. Cool thing about this one is this guy has brushless motors, so that means higher power, more efficient, faster flying, quieter, all kinds of stuff, and it'll definitely last longer than a brushed type of motor. So what we're going to do is we're going to unbox this, inspect it, do a really good inspection, and go ahead and take this out to the park, do some flight testing on this guy with a hat cam video and see how this thing does. I'm not sure if this is the cameraed version, but I guess we'll find out when we open the box right now. Don't forget that this will be down in the description. There'll be a link down there of where you can pick this guy up if you're interested. But anyway, let's start the unbox. So here's a quick look at the other side of the box, and we can see the controller looks really basically the same as the X118 controller that I did really a while back on that quadcopter. And then there's another picture of the white version, and I'm not sure why they have this controller, but maybe this is the controller that comes with the non-FPV version, I guess, and that's a black controller. Let's go ahead and take this out of the box and see really exactly what we got here. Oh, okay, it's a white version, so that mystery has been solved. So here we go. So we got the white version here. Nice looking little quadcopter. This was just the instruction manual that was sitting there in the box. Okay, so it's a dual tiered box here. Let's take the quad off first. Nice looking little quad. It's got some heft to it. It's definitely pretty solid. Plastic feels pretty solid. Interesting brushless motors. The outside does not spin, the inside spins. So a little bit different than what we're used to. Kind of used to quads where if they're brushless, the outside of the motor spins with the propeller, but this one's different. Looks like it's got an inner core that spins. That should be probably a little mini cloverleaf. VTX video transmitter for the FPV camera. There's our on-off switch. Looks like here's some ports where we're going to hook up the landing gear. And there's our battery compartment. And it looks like this is just probably for cosmetic reasons. But anyway, here's the battery door. Pull out the battery real quick. There we go. Looks like it's 7.4 volt, 1500 mAh LiPo. And it's got that bullet kind of connector. You can always change that out for something else if you wanted to. And there's our 2S balance connector there. Anyway, there's the battery. Let's take all the other stuff out in the package here, and then we'll get back to the quad and set it up and stuff and get everything ready to fly. So it looks like these are all the boxes in the package, and I'm just going to open them up one by one. This one here is going to be the charger. Looks like it's a Euro charger with just a balance connector on the other end. If you don't have an adapter, it looks like you're going to have to get an adapter for this one if you're in the US. That box is empty, so that may have just been a space-saving box. This looks like it's the box that has extra propellers, all kinds of stuff. So we got landing gear. We have prop guards, so if you're just beginner flyer, they give you these 4 propeller guards that you're going to want to put on. Looks like you just put them on under the motors like this and screw them in on the bottom. There's 2 screws there. You can screw those in. So put those on if you're a beginner flyer. You will really thank me because you're going to save from damaging your props every time you crash. If you're a little more experienced, don't need to put these on because they'll just give you a little less flight time and a little more drag in the wind. They do give you a complete set of propellers, so that's great. These look like they might be 5-inch by 30-degree pitch propellers. But a full new set is highly welcome, so good job on these guys for giving a full new set. That's the first thing that's going to break is your propellers if you crash. And here's a landing gear. Give us a little Phillips screwdriver And then a whole bunch of screws in this little bag, probably for our prop guards and landing gear in this little bag here. Alright, so really quick, just going to put the landing gear on here. And the way you do that is, looks like it's very simple on this one. All you're doing is matching up the holes in the two slots and pushing those in. Again on this side, matching the holes up, pushing the tabs in the slots, and then each one you're just going to want to secure with one of these screws here in the package. And we can see here how it kind of sits when the landing gear is on. And the propellers and the prop nuts are already installed, so don't have to even worry about those. Maybe just make sure they're tight and not going to fall off before you fly. Looks like the battery is kind of taking up the whole inside, so I don't think you'll really be able to put a larger battery in this one. The left and right, there's really no give left and right, and then really minimal here just for the wires behind the battery, so I don't think you're going to be able to put a larger battery in. Anyway, getting to the controller, this one looks pretty much exactly like the X181 controller I did a review on, where you have the top buttons here, you have your sunshade, your FPV screen with this protector on, which I'm going to peel off right now. A nice slightly matte finish screen, so that'll diminish the glare, as well as we have this sun hood that'll take away the glare. And these controllers are pretty cool. They have a lot of functions, and we'll go over those functions right now really quick. Okay, so it's saying that the top left button is your return to home key. The top right button is your headless mode. This one here is going to be your flips for your rollover. And then this one here is going to be changing the rates of flight for different speeds of flight. And it's not saying anything about this top left button here, but it is saying that the bottom top here is your turning your lights off and on. And then this would be your volume. So like the other X181 I did a review on, the sound does come through the speaker here. So the camera is going to transmit the sound as well. And so you can hear the sound of the quadcopter, and then this should be your volume up and down on the sound. Working our way down, of course you've got your FPV screen here where you're going to see the camera, what's on the camera while you're flying. Then we have our throttle up and down. This is the mode 2 where the throttle's on the left, and then we have our yaw to turn left and right. And then over here we have our pitch and roll. So pitch will make you go forward and back, and our roll will make us go roll left and right. And then we have trim buttons for those said controls. Over here, if it's flying kind of weird, go ahead and click these in the opposite direction and it will level itself out for trimming. These guys are basically, there is a power switch here, but it's saying power. I think this is actually to power on the FPV monitor. This button here, it's labeled in the instructions as taking a photograph or also recording the video, and also it should be working the kind of like an enter for your controls, your selections in the screen. And then over here we have this set button, which is labeled as screen freeze, play the file, and selection and confirm. So between these two you're going to be kind of scrolling, and then over here as well you're going to be selecting your menu options in the menu. And then over here we have moving images in the file selection, and also zooming the FPV picture. So you can actually zoom in a little bit when you're flying, which is kind of interesting. It just does like a digital zoom. And then over here, photograph and record. Let's go ahead and check really quick. This should be probably 4 AA's or something. So you got your screwdriver, take off that screw there. You shouldn't have to put this screw back in because this latches really nice and tight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 AA batteries. Keep in mind that this is going to drain rather quickly because it's powering the FPV screen as well as the transmitter itself to receive the video signal as well as the transmission and control signal. So you're basically powering 3 functions in one controller. So expect those batteries to be going down kind of fast, so make sure you use some quality rechargeables so you can keep charging those up. It also looks like the screen does actually have 1, 2, 3, 4 positions. So you can tilt this, you can slide this thing up, tilt it towards you, or tilt it back. So that's kind of cool. You can see the profile there of all the positions. And while I'm doing that, I'm seeing some other things. So this actually looks like maybe an audio jack. Here's our SD card slot. Cool. And they're giving us a 4 GB card to, it looks like, record the FPV here. Okay, this one has a switch so we can power on. Don't have to worry about using a bunch of power, which I like, until we tuck everything away. Close the power bay up. And then we can worry about turning on our switch right here. Set it down on a level surface. And so we can see we have the transmitter blinking, going up and then back down. So that should be bound. Yeah, so you can see that. Wow, that's really nice and quiet. It just sounds like a fan. That's nice. So really liking the silent treatment of this quadcopter. We can see how the lights are kind of blinking, kind of like the X118. They have a really colorful flashing lights there. I think this was the light button here. Yeah, so turning off the lights in the daytime, turning them back on for nighttime flight if you wanted to. If we can get this screen on, so I'm just going to press power on the screen. Maybe we got to hold it down. Yeah. So there we go. So we're booted up. We can hear some interference here in the screen, but we can also hear the sound reverberating from the speaker, the mic on here, and the speaker coming out. So I just turned down the sound, and we're not getting that problem anymore. So real quick, let's just see how the FPV is and how the lag is. So we are getting a couple hundred milliseconds of lag, not too bad. And then we can see in the screen here, we have the battery power of the transmitter. It tells us we do have a SD card in there, and it's in camera mode, ready to go. Let's see if we hit set. Changed us to video mode, so we can see a little video camera in there now. Okay, so now if we press record, now it's recording the video. So we can see that we have this little blinking red light. It says record, and then we can see our timer ticking away on how long it's been recording. You can zoom in and out. You can see that there's that little time zoom there on the screen, which is kind of cool. But all it's really doing is, whoa, that's weird. Okay, so pressing down flips your video, and then pressing up zooms in until it goes back to normal. So you got like 1, 2, 3 zoom states, and then the fourth one will get you back to normal zoom. That's kind of a neat feature. You don't really see that on many quadcopters. Let's see, go back to set. Okay, so there we go. So now we have our play. I pressed OK again, and now we can actually play our file we recorded. Press set again, set again. Okay, so there's our camera mode again, taking a picture. Yep. So you just hit record, and you can take snapshots as well. And it's all saving it into this SD card here. So cool, everything seems to be working well. Just remember on this one, just be careful that it is armed. As soon as you bind it up and down, you can see the propellers are now spinning. I just can't get over how silent these things are. Gosh, they're so quiet. That's amazing. Cool. Well, this is going to be fun. Really anxious to take this thing out to the field, do a flight test, see how much power this thing has, see what kind of range we have on this guy, run it through its paces, get the HapCam video, as well as I'll have video recorded from this throughout the flight on the screen, and just see how this thing does. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So I'm at the park with the Navigator X6, and this is a brushless quad here, and we're gonna go ahead and do a flight test here at the park, test out all the functions, test out how the video looks on the screen, take some snapshots and some video and put that up as well in this review. Anyway, let's go ahead and plug this thing in, see how it does. Do have fresh charged batteries in the craft and also in the controller. So this one is kind of cool. You can plug in and you don't need to worry about, as I mentioned before in the first part of the review, you don't need to worry about it booting on right when you plug in. You can take your time and just go ahead and turn on the switch when you're nice and ready. Let's see, let's go ahead and take a snapshot real quick. I do have the stock SD card in here. So that was just kind of a snapshot of the camera. I'm hitting set and I'm going to go to video mode. I'm going to start recording on the video camera. So to bind the craft, you're just pressing up and down. You're going to hear 1, 2 beeps, and this thing should be ready to go. Let's see how it does. Alright, so this is mode 1. Do have maybe 10 mile per hour variable winds. Right now they're coming from that direction. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the lights. You can see the lights on the bottom. Kind of pretty lights blinking. Let's bring it in kind of close so you can see those. I just turned the lights off to save some battery power. We are still recording. Clicking in this lower right button here is the second rate mode. And then if we go into the third one, it's just always going to do flips. You can see those flips it's doing. And so you have to click that again to go out. Whoa. Okay, so I don't know if it lost connection or what, but we just had a little bit of a crash. Maybe that's what it does when it loses connection. Anyway, I'm going to keep flying. Whoa. Alright, so I don't know what's going on with this one. Looks like maybe it's losing connection. Looks like the failed safe did kind of drop it. Let's go ahead and reboot everything and see if we can get this thing flying right. Okay, so the good news is nothing broke. We did crash kind of hard. The landing gear is still fine. We did hit the propellers into the grass. Nothing broke at all. So it definitely seems like it's going to be kind of durable. Let's go ahead and restart this thing up and see if we can get this to work. Alright, gonna bind it. I'm just gonna fly it without the screen for right now. Okay, so that's rate 2. Seems like it's flying fine right now. Nice and quick. So I don't know, maybe there's some issue with the FPV perhaps. When the FPV is turned on, maybe it's interfering with the controls, because it seems like it's fine now. You can see, let's do like a little lift test. That's our maximum lift. And so it's got 2 rates of pitch and roll. And then third rate goes into actually just a constant flipping. So you're going to want to be careful with that. There's our yaw there. Let's get a little close up of this guy before it runs out of batteries. It's definitely pretty fun to fly. It's very reminiscent of the XINLIN X181 that I previously reviewed, where the controls are a little bit wishy-washy more than normal. I'm going to try to power on this screen again while I'm in flight here and see if we can kind of get it to work with the screen. Let's go ahead and go for a range test. Hopefully it doesn't fall out of the sky again. I'm just gonna kind of go in this direction as far as I can while kind of rolling to see how far we can kind of get. The wind's coming straight at us now. Okay, that was about our range, I think. So not too far. I was only about like at 100 feet, and I can feel it getting in and out. So the FPV was still fine, but the range is only about 100 feet on this. Not very good with the range. I'm not seeing any low-level blinking lights on the bottom, so we definitely still have power to fly around. And I am still recording. Let's try to get some height. Let's get some height, see how the video looks like up there. So I'm like maybe about 100 feet height right now. Probably it looks like maybe you'll get, yeah, the same. Looked like it was cutting out a little bit in the controls there. So about 100 feet height and also 100 feet out from you on this one. And I'm going to go up a little higher again and take some pictures. Okay, well there's our, whoa. Alright, so that was low voltage cutoff. So I didn't have any blinking light warnings when I turned the lights off, so that's a con there. And it just kind of got low on power and then dropped out of the sky. You can see that there's, well actually there we go. So the lights are blinking, but they weren't visible from a distance, or maybe they came on right when it ran out of power. So not very good with the low voltage warning on this one. And wow, these things are hot. So these are brushless motors, but this cowling gets really hot. So for kids, there goes a kind of bent that propeller. But so for kids, be really careful with this one, because these get really hot. Doesn't feel like they're really gonna burn you, but they get to the point where it's almost burning on the motors. And it does say caution, do not touch hot surfaces. So apparently that's just the design of this one, where it gets really hot. But anyway, I think that was a pretty good test. We were able to test out all the controls on this one and put it through its flight test paces and just see how well it did. So you could see how I had that little weird crashing in the beginning where I was losing control. Not sure if that was maybe interference with FPV, but you could see the pictures and the video up on the screen. See how the FPV looked on this, and then also you could see how the thing flew. It flew pretty good. A little bit weird with that third rate is just a flipping rate all the time, so that could be kind of dangerous. Don't like that. Range is not so great at 100 feet, and the low voltage failsafe, it drops too quickly, and it'll just crash if it's too far up. So good thing though, pro, is it does seem pretty durable. Crashed pretty hard, and nothing really seems to be broken, aside from maybe a little bit of a bent landing gear here and one bent propeller. It did hold up pretty well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.